under a blood-red dawn. The bells of the royal chapel told a mournful refrain. In the corridors of power, whispers moved faster than the wind. The kingdom had awoken to a truth too terrible to speak aloud, yet impossible to silence. Two princes, young, royal, and once beloved, were gone, vanished without trial, without farewell. Their brother, the man who now wore the crown, stood untouched, his expression carved from stone. In the chronicles of monarchies, few tales rival the darkness of this one. The story of the prince who killed his own brothers for the throne. It was the 15th century, an age where loyalty was fleeting, and crowns were worth any price in blood. Europe's courts brimmed with rivalry, each kingdom a chessboard where monarchs moved living pieces. To rule was not merely to govern, it was to survive. The house in question was one of the most powerful dynasties on the continent, a family whose lineage was a tapestry woven with both triumph and treachery. In its great palaces, where torchlight glimmered on polished marble and the air reeked faintly of incense and ambition, politics was a weapon sharper than any sword. The prince who would become king was born into privilege, but not security. His mother, a queen of formidable intellect, taught him early that a crown was never inherited. It was seized. His father, the reigning monarch, was a man of war, more often in the saddle than seated on his throne. From his youth, the prince watched his uncles, cousins, and even siblings plotted against each other, alliances forged in candlelit chambers only to shatter within weeks. The young prince learned to smile in public while calculating in private. He understood that family ties could strangle as easily as they could support. Two younger brothers stood between him and absolute power. The eldest of the pair was noble in bearing, admired by the court and beloved by the people. Chroniclers would later describe him as the light of the realm, a young man whose sense of justice and charm could win hearts as swiftly as a sword could win battles. The youngest was but a boy, playful yet clever, his innocence a reminder of what the royal family could have been without the poison of ambition. Together, the brothers represented both a threat and a temptation. For a prince raised on the doctrine of survival, their existence was a dangerous flaw in the design of his future. When the king died suddenly, whether from illness or poison, history does not conclusively say. The realm shuddered. The heir apparent was still a youth, but strong-willed and unyielding. Yet, by ancient law, the throne could pass to any male of the royal bloodline deemed fit by the council of nobles. And the council, ever wary of absolute power in the hands of one man, saw in the younger brothers a convenient counterbalance to the new monarch. They suggested a shared rule, a divided authority in which the brothers would act as guardians of the realm. To the prince, it was not a compromise, it was a sentence. Thus began the first wave of his quiet war. Courtiers were bribed, letters were intercepted, alliances were rearranged like pieces on a board. A marriage proposal was sent to a distant duchy, promising a union between one brother and the daughter of a powerful ally. That alliance, had it taken root, might have secured the younger brother's position for life. But the marriage never occurred. The would-be bride's father died suddenly at his hunting lodge. A goblet of spiced wine the suspected culprit. No formal accusation was made, but those who served in the palace kitchens noted the arrival of unfamiliar servants, men who vanished before dawn the next day. With the marriage dissolved, the brothers became increasingly isolated. The older was given command of a distant garrison, a posting far from the capital and its influence. It was said to be an honor, but in truth it stripped him of his voice at court. The youngest was confined within the palace under guise of education, his tutors carefully chosen from among the prince's loyalists. Weeks turned to months, and the brothers' presence in public diminished until it was spoken of only in whispers. The final act was as silent as it was devastating. One summer's night, under the cover of an unseasonably fierce storm, the brothers were moved from their respective quarters to a single tower room, ostensibly for their safety during the unrest that had begun in the city. Few guards were assigned to the post, but those who were chosen came from the prince's personal retinue. Chroniclers later wrote of a night where the rain beat against the castle walls like war drums, the torches sputtering in the wind. Within the tower, no screams were heard, only the steady rhythm of the storm. By dawn, the brothers were gone. Some claimed they had been smothered in their sleep. Others that a draught of wine, thick with an invisible powder, had been placed at their bedside. No bodies were ever produced. The prince announced that his brothers had been sent abroad for their safety, but no foreign court ever confirmed their arrival. Rumors spread like wildfire, carried by merchants, whispered by monks in cloisters, inked in the margins of chronicles by trembling scribes. The people, once supportive, began to murmur of curses and divine wrath. Yet the council, lacking evidence and wary of the prince's growing power, made no move against him. History would record his reign as one of relative stability, but it was a stability built on the silence of those who could have challenged him. The crown gleamed upon his head, but it was a crown heavy with the weight of unspoken crimes. In portraits painted during his reign, his eyes seemed to follow the viewer, their expression unreadable, part triumph, part warning. Letters from foreign ambassadors survive, carefully preserved in archives, noting the sudden absence of the younger princes and the unease it caused among the nobility. Some diplomats recorded private conversations in which courtiers alluded to the tower's secret, though none dared write the truth plainly. Centuries later, the tale of the vanished brothers will become one of the great mysteries of royal history.